3 by Wdowski, 2025. Chapter 18. Heading north on the riverside road, Pixa and Bruce took point far ahead of the group. Pixa from time to time would turn her head to look back at Dale. "She clearly likes you," Zup pointed out. "She is a 1-foot-tall fairy," Dale softly said, not wanting Pixa's fairy ears picking up what he was saying. "Granted, she is adorable, sweet, kind, and sensual in her own way. I do like short girls. I used to love it when I hugged Christine. The top of her head would fit right under my chin. As for Pixa, if we tried to hug, she would only be able to hug my lower leg, and the top of her head would only reach my knee." "She can fly up to your chin," Zup smiled. "Ha!" Dale faked laughed. "I like her, and I do hope to be friends with her. I do not see us ever able to have a romantic relationship. We are two very different species." "I think Kia likes you too," Josh added to the conversation. "I think she may respect me militarily. Again, we are two very different species. I don't see Kia being interested in any non-Anubis." Zup agreed with Dale. "Well, the two barmaids are both interested in you," Chopson joined in. Dale realized that they may have been speaking too loud. He turned his head back as they kept riding to address Chopson. "At least they are humans. That could work. But I don't trust them. I think they have other motives. Those two girls are survivalists and opportunists. They would dump me as soon as they thought someone better came along. Richer, or had more steaks and pork chops." "Boy, Christine really did mess you up," Chopson responded. "I told you both of them are sweet girls. I know they are not interested in me, but they are still kind to me and thoughtful. I think you are being too suspicious. Chopson, they are both prostitutes." "Have you forgotten that Dorfman was offering their comfort for the night? Women like that can only love gold coins. I could introduce a good Neathton woman to you. My sister-in-law is about your age, but I fear she will think you're too short. I'm 6 foot tall, exactly too short for Neathton women. And you're too pale." Zup shook his head in a negative. "A human female may still be the best match for you." Their conversation was interrupted by Bruce flying back to them. "There seems to be something up ahead." Dale was a bit worried when Bruce approached. He was concerned Pixa had heard their conversation. He asked, "What?" "Scat," Bruce responded with a disgusted face. "A really big pile of it right in the center of the road up ahead." As the wind changed, Zup's face also had the same disgusted expression as Bruce's. "I can smell it now." "How large?" Dale became worried. "A bear's demonoid or Goric-sized waist." "No," Bruce seemed frightened. "Whatever left this behind is big. Really big." They rode up to the scat. Pixa was hovering way above it. She smiled, seeing Dale. "There are footprints, too." She pointed to large, heavy prints in the dirt road. They were large human, like boot prints, at least 10 times larger than Chopson's footprints, who had the biggest feet of any man Dale knew. The footprints had a very large stride. They emerged from the woods. Following the footprints back to where it had come out of the forest, the creature had made a large hole. Trees were knocked down and branches were broken as it moved through the woods. The footprints straddled where the scat was deposited and then traveled north on the road. Josh looked at the prints first. "It is not written to be a troll." "How do you know?" Dale asked. "Trolls don't wear boots," answered Chopson, agreeing with Josh. Josh then examined the large pile of scat. "Well, it is a carnivore. No plant material in its waste. It is the partially digested bones of a demonoid. You can see the horns and the short humanoid bones." Josh looked north up the road. "Whatever it is, its last meal was a demonoid, Zachary pelts, and iron plating included. It didn't dress it down and cook it. It ate it raw, I am guessing in one sitting. You can know that much from its waist." Dale was impressed. Chopson dismounted to also examine the pile of scat. Yeah, it clearly didn't cut and chew its food well. It finished the demon in 3 or 4 bites. "That would mean there are demonoids this far north?" asked Dale. "To pass through something this big." Chopson looked at the waist, the boot prints, and the busted tree branches. "It could have eaten it perhaps 2 days ago. It is not well digested. I think since it didn't cook the meat, didn't chew it up well enough, I think it could have been devoured a day ago," Josh added. "This was not a meal for it. It was a killing. So whatever it is," Dale looked north on the road, "it clearly doesn't like demonoids." "I would say so. This creature was not on the menu. It was disposed of. Not a pleasant way to go." Josh seemed worried as he followed the boot prints that traveled north on the road. "And it is big, really big. Looking at the top branches of those oaks and pines, I would say at least 60 feet tall." Chopson pointed to the broken top branches. "Well, I hope it only dislikes demonoids." Dale responded, "Any idea how long ago it dropped this?" He looked at the large pile of scat. "It is still a little bit warm. Not too long ago." Josh waved his hand over the pile, feeling the warmth. Chopson did the same, "I agree. It is not that far up ahead. Yet at the strides it is making, it is moving much faster than we are. The great author has written it to be an intelligent being," Josh added. "How do you know that by its waist?" Dale was not sure he could believe this part of his analysis. "Josh is right," Chopson confirmed. "For one, it wears boots. I am sure it made its own boots. That size is not found at any town cobbler's. Second of all, it did this in the middle of the road where anyone would easily find it. A warning or marking of territory?" Zup finally spoke up. Josh and Chopson both looked up at Zup, who was still mounted, and both nodded in the affirmative. "Not a troll," Zup added. "Yeah, clearly not a troll," Chopson confirmed. "Should we cross here?" asked Zup. "What do you mean?" Chopson asked. "We have no idea what this thing is, friend or foe. Do we risk traveling north and running into this giant? You of all people know that if we cross here the West Bank doesn't have a road. It will slow our progress greatly," pointed out Dale. "This giant clearly doesn't like demonoids. Perhaps we have a common enemy." "It may not like us either," Chopson stated and pointed to the partially digested remains of the demonoid. "That is a warning, a clear sign of it being territorial. I'm not sure it is written that even all our bowmen could take down something that big." Josh was a bit rattled by what they might be facing up the road. Dale thought deeply over all their concerns. He looked up at the sun that was just past midday. They still had more hours of daylight. He looked up at Pixa, who glowed more so with the sun behind her. "Pixa, what do you think we should do? Continue on the road north, or make our crossing here?" Pixa was touched that he was asking her. "I understand it may be prudent to avoid this giant. Yet I think it does show signs of intelligence, and has a clear disdain for the demons. It may be a creature that if we approach unthreateningly, could be reasoned with." She looked down at Zup. "Zup's people need your help as soon as possible. I trust your judgment, Dale." 2 hours later. They were still following the road north. As Dale looked down at the large footprints with their massive strides, he hoped he was making the right decision. The smart call would have been to steer far away from whatever left these tracks and its warning in the road. Looking at Zup riding beside him, he knew they needed to complete their mission as quickly as possible. Presently, humanity was not strong enough to help the Neathans. This technology was their only hope to make a possible difference in the coming war against Lucifera. Josh, walking along Dale, was also looking at the large prints that traveled north. "Are you sure this is the right course of action?" "You're not sure we are doing as the great author has written?" injected Zup, who was also concerned, but understood the time constraint of their mission. Zup felt Dale had no other choice but to continue on the road north. He hoped that the giant was already far north of them, and they would not be encountering it. Dale looked at Pixa up ahead as he responded to Josh's concerns. "If anyone is written by the great author, it is Pixa. She is different than the rest of us." Josh nodded in agreement, remembering how she had tickled him from afar. "She is magical, the most magical creature I have ever met." "She is the only magical creature I know of," Dale responded. "The demonoids, the Gorics, the Neathans, and the Anubis may all be beings from children's myths, but in reality they are all flesh and blood, as real and natural as any human. The fairies cannot be explained rationally. Even at their smaller size, I do not think their wings are big enough to keep them realistically airborne, but they hover and fly at ease. Only powered by the sun, added Chopson to the conversation. The way they frightened the tormentors and the emissary, causing them to retreat with only their presence, was magical, added Josh. Her healing powers, too. She is much more than any of our people's, agreed Zup. So to answer your question, Josh, I would have crossed the river where we saw the giant's warning. I trust Pixa's judgment, Dale assured him. At that moment, Pixa and Bruce stopped moving forward. Bruce flew back to them. You spotted something? Dale asked Bruce. The tracks ended, Bruce answered in a nervous lisp. Ended? The others all replied. How does a giant's tracks just disappear? Asked Zup. They shouldn't, Josh and Chopson both answered. Dale kicked the flanks of his horse to gallop to where Pixa was hovering above the road. The others followed close behind him.